Bygone Days, Otabek and Kumush. Introduction. In the history of Uzbek literature, Abdulla Qodiriy is widely recognized as the founder of the national novel genre. His novel, Bygone Days, Kunlar, holds a special place in our literature not only for its artistic excellence, but also for its deep social and moral significance. Through this work, the author masterfully depicts the life of the Uzbek people in the 19th century, their traditions, social relationships, and the factors that shape human destiny. Although Bygone Days begins as a love story, it goes far beyond the fate of two young individuals and reveals the inner conflicts of an entire society. The clash between old traditions and new ideas, attitudes toward women, and the pursuit of justice and freedom occupy a central place in the novel. By turning to the past, the author warns his contemporaries and urges them to reflect on the future. Through the main characters, Otabek and Kumush, the novel glorifies pure love, loyalty, and humanity. At the same time, it exposes how ignorance, jealousy, and blind adherence to traditions can destroy human happiness. Bygone Days is not merely a portrayal of the past, but a collection of life lessons that remain relevant even today. In the second half of the 19th century, the ancient city of Tashkent lived with its unique Eastern rhythm. The bazaars were crowded, the streets narrow, yet hearts were filled with pride and dreams. In this city lived Otabek, the only son of the merchant Uzbek Qodiriy, a young man with a sharp mind, a pure heart, and a strong desire to live in harmony with the changing times. While learning his father's trade, his thoughts increasingly turned toward justice, progress, and reform. Otabek's mother, Otabek, was deeply devoted to tradition and family honor. She envisioned her son's future strictly within the boundaries of old customs. His father, however, though calm and experienced, was not indifferent to his son's modern views. Not far from Tashkent lay the city of Margilan, which would become a turning point in Otabek's life. There, he met Kumush, a young woman who captured his heart at first sight. Kumush was beautiful, modest, intelligent, and gentle in speech. Her father, Mirzakarım Qutidor, was a respected and wise man who valued his daughter's happiness above all else. The love between Otabek and Kumush was quiet yet profound. It was not merely emotion, but a deep connection born from mutual understanding. Otabek saw in Kumush not only beauty, but a kindred spirit. Kumush, in turn, recognized determination, honesty, and hope for the future in Otabek. They married, and their union became a source of happiness for Otabek and the brightest chapter in Kumush's life. Yet no one imagined that this happiness would soon face severe trials. After returning to Tashkent, tensions within Otabek's household intensified. His mother coldly received the bride from Margilan, as her heart had already chosen another woman, Zainab. Zainab was modest but deeply jealous, ready to build her happiness even at the expense of others. Under his mother's pressure, Otabek was forced into a second marriage. This decision tormented his conscience and cast a shadow over his love for Kumush. Kumush accepted the news in silence, expressing no protest, yet hiding deep pain within her heart. Her patience concealed an inner tragedy beneath outward calm. Life with two wives became a heavy trial for both Otabek and Kumush. Otabek tried to act justly, but old traditions, hidden rivalry, and gossip among women made this increasingly difficult. Zainab's jealousy grew day by day, disturbing the peace of the household. Thus, a family life that began with love slowly became entangled in conflict. Otabek found himself trapped between dreams of a new era and the rigid customs of the past. Kumush endured these trials with love and patience, unaware that fate had prepared even harsher tests ahead. As time passed, the silence in Otabek's home lost its meaning. From the outside, everything seemed orderly and calm, but beneath this calm lay unspoken words, hidden resentment, and sharp jealousy. Zainab felt like an outsider in the household. Witnessing Otabek's love for Kumush, she responded not with her heart, but with wounded pride. Kumush's gentleness, patience, and special place in Otabek's eyes became unbearable for her. She longed to be loved sincerely, not out of obligation, and this was exactly what she lacked. Kumush avoided open conflict with Zainab and did her best to preserve peace. Yet no woman's heart can endure silence forever. Inside Kumush lived sorrow, fear, and loneliness. Otabek stood between two fires. He loved Kumush, yet tried to be fair to Zainab. Gradually, he realized that justice does not always mean equality. On one side stood the desire of his heart, on the other, social pressure and his mother's demands. At the same time, Otabek faced external struggles. He supported honesty in trade and opposed corruption and outdated practices, earning himself enemies. Though times were changing, not everyone was ready for change. Domestic conflict combined with external pressure exhausted Otabek. Often, he wished to share his pain with Kumush, yet remained silent, fearing that words might deepen the wounds. Zainab, unable to suppress her inner suffering, grew closer to Otabek, who justified her jealousy and portrayed Kumush as unnecessary. This closeness fueled resentment and laid the groundwork for betrayal. Whispers, suspicious gestures, and secret accusations cast a shadow over Kumush's honor. Though aware of these rumors, she once again chose silence, trusting that truth would eventually prevail. But jealousy and hatred never wait for truth. One day, Kumush's health began to deteriorate. She grew weaker, paler, and lost her former vitality. Otabek worried deeply, unaware that her illness was far from ordinary. In Zainab's heart, a dangerous thought took root: if Kumush were gone, Otabek would belong only to me. What began as fear slowly transformed into self-justified resolve, as jealousy overcame reason. Thus, the most dangerous enemy within the family, inner hostility, matured, leading not only the women but the entire household toward tragedy. Kumush's condition worsened with each passing day. Her eyes reflected sorrow and quiet resignation, as if she had already accepted her fate. Otabek suffered deeply, realizing too late that he had failed to protect the woman he loved, not only from jealousy, but from the oppression of tradition. The conspiracy bore its bitter fruit. Zainab eventually realized the horror of her actions, but this realization came too late. With Kumush's decline, rumors lost meaning, leaving only painful truth behind. Even in her final moments, Kumush preserved her dignity. She accused no one, cursed no one. Her last gaze toward Otabek carried both pain and forgiveness, as if saying, "I do not blame you, but you could not change this world." Her death filled the house with silence, not peace, but heavy regret. Otabek's life changed completely. He was no longer just a grieving husband, but a lonely thinker standing against his time. Zainab, consumed by guilt, understood that love cannot be forced. Her conscience became her greatest punishment. Uzbek Hoji, Otabek's father, also drew deep lessons from this tragedy, realizing how blind traditions can destroy human happiness. Conclusion. Bygone Days concludes not merely as a tragic love story, but as the tragedy of an entire era. Abdulla Qodiriy calls not for mourning the past, but for learning from it. Through this novel, he asserts that without human freedom, respect for women, and justice, even the purest love is doomed. Otabek represents a new generation striving for progress, while Kumush symbolizes patience, purity, and the dignity of women. Their tragedy is not personal alone, it is a reflection of society's failure. For this reason, Bygone Days remains timeless, continuing to inspire reflection, awareness, and moral responsibility in every generation.